Coeur d'Alene Basin Restoration Partnership is happy to announce that it is soliciting for new project ideas in 2023. We are reaching out to the public, agencies, governments, non-governmental organizations, and private interests that are interested and involved in ecological restoration work within our CDA Basin planning area. For those not acquainted with the Restoration Partnership, here's a little background on how the Restoration Partnership was formed. Large areas of the Coeur d'Alene Basin have experienced injury to natural resources due to the historic releases of toxic mine waste. Through a series of legal settlements, approximately $140 million in financial damages have been awarded to fund restoration of those damaged natural resources and their ecological services. The Restoration Partnership is a consortium of federal, tribal, and state government natural resources trustees comprising the U.S. Department of the Interior, U.S. Department of Agriculture, Coeur d'Alene Tribe, and the state of Idaho. The Restoration Partnership is charged with the responsibility to cooperatively plan, fund, and implement restoration projects that address mine waste damaged resources using those settlement dollars. To learn more about the history of the Coeur d'Alene Basin and the Restoration Partnership, please visit our website at www.restorationpartnership.org. Restoration can have many interpretations, but for the Restoration Partnership, restoration refers to actions taken to return an injured natural resource and/or the services they provide toward its baseline condition, as measured in the terms of the injured resource's physical, chemical, or biological properties or the services it previously provided. The Restoration Partnership trustees settled with the last mining company, Hecla, in 2011 and initiated the NEPA process in developing the restoration plan. In 2018, the trustees adopted the Record of Decision and Restoration Plan, and in 2019, on-the-ground natural resource restoration implementation began with the public, stakeholders, and trustees. In 2023, the Restoration Partnership is going out with a focused project idea solicitation. Wherein our 2019 solicitation was strategically general, our 2023 solicitation is more focused. Our definition of the Coeur d'Alene Basin for the plan includes all 5 of the watersheds that drain into Coeur d'Alene Lake and the Upper Spokane River in Idaho. So these include the North Fork Coeur d'Alene River, South Fork Coeur d'Alene River, St. Joe River, Coeur d'Alene Lake, and Upper Spokane River subbasins. The planning area also includes a limited selection of project types in the Hangman Creek watershed. The Restoration Partnership is focusing on projects consistent with the restoration plan that connect or are contiguous with first-round solicitation selections, or other projects that have focused on restoration that benefit injured resources. The Restoration Partnership is focusing on projects in wetlands, streams, and lake ecosystems. Consistent with the Coeur d'Alene Basin Restoration Plan that connects or are contiguous with completed or ongoing projects focused on restoration that benefit injured resources. Projects that leverage other restoration plans or programs, such as the Leading Idaho Initiative or Coeur d'Alene Lake Advisory Committee, are just a couple of examples. As always, the Restoration Partnership is looking for collaboration with other ongoing restoration and remediation projects in the basin. Here's a list of the focused project idea solicitation that I will cover in the next slides. We'll start with streams. Projects to enhance uncontaminated streams that provide critical habitat for bull trout. Projects to restore connectivity between streams with high metals concentrations and adjacent to clean water refugia, and restore migration corridors for native salmonids between identified strongholds and injured streams to facilitate recolonization and reestablishment of self-sustaining aquatic communities. Next is wetlands. Projects to restore and enhance areas adjacent to ongoing stream and/or wetland restoration areas, or have previously dedicated funds from other sources. And projects and/or enhance wetlands that have been remediated. Next is lakes. Projects that support water quality improvement that complement Leading Idaho Initiative / Coeur d'Alene Lake Advisory Committee projects. And projects that support ecological improvement, stream and wetland restoration that directly flow into Coeur d'Alene Lake. Again, as a reminder, the Restoration Partnership is always looking for collaboration with other ongoing restoration and remediation projects in the basin. The Upper St. Joe River subbasin provides spawning, rearing, and other essential habitat for threatened bull trout. These headwater tributaries contain a small population of the last remaining bull trout in the entire Coeur d'Alene Basin. Protecting and enhancing habitat of this remaining population not only acquires some of the equivalent of the injured natural resources, but may be the foundation for expanding their distribution to restored habitats where they were once extirpated. The Restoration Partnership places a high priority on enhancing bull trout habitat, which also supports other injured aquatic species and provides an increase in resilience to disturbances. The Restoration Partnership is seeking out and trying to identify projects that conserve and restore stream systems. Projects that are currently or potentially providing refugia or stronghold habitat for native fishes, projects that provide connectivity between streams with high metals concentrations adjacent to clean water refugia, projects that restore migration corridors for native salmonids between identified strongholds and injured streams, and projects that facilitate recolonization and reestablishment of self-sustaining aquatic communities. The restoration activities that can make the greatest contribution to injured aquatic resources and utilize process-based techniques are the most desirable. Stream restoration may target either short-term or long-term ecological processes, or a combination of both. Short-term actions, such as direct placement of large woody debris to provide habitat-forming elements for improved conditions, may demonstrate a quick response. However, without a long-term strategy that addresses ecological processes, achieving self-sustaining restoration may not be possible. Restoration that targets ecosystem processes and functions to ensure habitats are suitable and sustainable are preferred. Therefore, it is recognized that short-term actions may take place to improve habitat conditions while longer-term approaches take effect. Many strategies and techniques exist for stream restoration, and the following examples are not intended to be comprehensive or exhaustive, rather to identify some approaches and themes that will be considered under this project idea solicitation. Stream restoration can be accomplished through a protection approach that proposes a conservation easement on a section of stream and riparian area that has many or all of the necessary ecological components in place. A project may propose restoring in-stream structure, such as large woody debris or boulders, where management plans or stewardship agreements protect the ecological processes that will, over time, allow natural succession to reach function and self-sustainability. Other projects may be more aggressive and restore channel geometry, floodplain, and riparian vegetation to reach natural, self-sustaining ecological processes. Many restoration strategies and techniques exist, and the combinations of their use may vary. Projects that promote self-sustaining ecological processes, improve conditions for injured resources, and are consistent with the Coeur d'Alene Basin Restoration Plan will rank favorably. The second project category that the Restoration Partnership will be looking for are wetland restoration projects in uncontaminated but degraded areas, particularly those that will integrate with other completed or ongoing wetland restoration projects in the lower basin. Ideally, these wetlands restoration project sites would be located immediately adjacent to completed or active wetlands restoration work. The strategic goal behind this is that when clean wetland habitats increase in geographical extent and continuity, they contain a greater complex of microhabitats, have higher native species diversity, and increased resilience to future ecological disturbances. The Restoration Partnership will also be seeking wetlands projects that are in contaminated environments with low or controllable risk of mine waste recontamination. Projects should ideally support planned, active, or completed remediation efforts by the Environmental Protection Agency and/or completed restoration by the Restoration Partnership. This might include developing related site studies, engineering design work, and construction costs for project sites where restoration is imminent. An on-the-ground example of this would be the installation of water control structures needed to reduce recontamination risk and facilitate interim water management prior to active restoration. The strategic goal behind these types of projects is to benefit human health and the environment, particularly by decreasing the exposure risk to harmful levels of mine waste contamination. The Restoration Partnership is seeking project ideas that complement the Leading Idaho Initiative and the Coeur d'Alene Lake Advisory Committee projects, or support ecological improvement projects associated with streams and wetlands that directly flow into Coeur d'Alene Lake. For more information on the Coeur d'Alene Lake Advisory Committee process, please visit www.deq.idaho.gov. Water quality is an important component of restoration throughout the basin, including lakes. Therefore, it is an appropriate representative resource to target with restoration and measure effects. It is a vital component of fish and wildlife habitat in lakes, and it is a principal influence on trophic webs status, productivity, and food webs of lakes. It influences the further release of metals from lake bed sediments in injured lakes. The trustees have determined that the surface waters, sediments, benthic macroinvertebrates, zooplankton, and phytoplankton in Coeur d'Alene Lake and several of the lateral lakes have been injured by the release of mine waste contamination, affecting the plant, fish, wildlife, and human uses associated with the lakes. Additionally, many of the shoreline and nearshore habitats of the area's lakes have been affected by hydrologic alterations, development, erosion, invasive species, and many other factors. Some techniques for restoring lakes can include, but are not limited to, restoring the vegetation and physical structure of shorelines and nearshore areas, planting desirable vegetation and controlling undesirable vegetation, utilizing bioengineering techniques to reshape and stabilize banks, installing native material log and rock structures, and reducing negative impacts associated with shoreline roads and developments. As a recap, there are two main project idea solicitation goals relative to Coeur d'Alene Lake. The first is to support water quality improvement projects that complement Leading Idaho Initiative and Coeur d'Alene Lake Advisory Committee projects. The second is to support ecological improvement projects and stream and wetland restoration projects that directly flow into Coeur d'Alene Lake. The slide below shows the timeline for project idea solicitation and invitation for full project applications. The process starts with step 1 on April 17, 2023, which is when project idea solicitation opens. It will remain open for 45 days, that is until June 1st, 2023, which is step 2. At that time, the solicitation period will close. Then we move to step 3, which is June 15th, 2023. That's a 2-week period. And that is when the Restoration Partnership will notify the project idea applicants on whether their ideas are eligible to move forward to a full application. From there, applicants will have 45 days to submit full applications. So the date for that is July 31st, 2023. Then there's another 45-day gap moving on to step 5, where applicants will make presentations to the Restoration Partnership on full applications. That will occur on September 14th, 2023. And then the final step, which occurs on October 15th, 2023, is when funding decisions are made by the trustees, and that's highlighted in step 6. So we're often asked, what are the eligibility criteria for applicants applying for projects? There are a few, and I'm going to cover those briefly. The first is that the project occurs within the planning area. The second is that the project does not expend funds on physical structures that are unrelated to restoration. Next is no additional injury to natural resources or services. Next is the project avoids or mitigates human health risks. The next one is the project is consistent with applicable laws. Continuing on with our eligibility criteria, the next one is no infrastructure projects. Next is services, human use, culturally significant, community support, etc. Next is projects will not replicate cleanup and not cause negative effects to cleanup already completed or underway. And the last criteria is will not replace other obligated funds. What that means is the proposed project is not part of an independent prior obligation resulting from a legal requirement such as a regulation, consent decree, or court order. Proposals that extend restoration benefits beyond legal obligations may be considered if the trustee investment will substantially enhance injured natural resources. Now, anybody can visit our website, restorationpartnership.org, to review the process, to review the eligibility criteria. That's also where you would go to submit project ideas and to review commonly asked questions. Anyone interested is also welcome to email us at any time. That email address is on the slide. It's info@restorationpartnership.org. The Restoration Partnership will continue to accept and consider any good project idea within the Coeur d'Alene Basin project planning area, depending on the Restoration Partnership sponsor oversight, facilitation, and capacity. And just as a reminder, for folks that have questions, please don't hesitate to visit our website or to reach out to us at info@restorationpartnership.org. Thanks for watching.